Today we're talking to City manager Ian Allinson at a very chilly Stonebridge Road, where the Saints have gone down to a 1-0 defeat. Not a disgrace, but anyway, Ian. In fact, right at the end there, could have snatched a draw.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed because for 44 minutes I felt we'd kept them at bay. They probably had one half chance, and then it was just a shot from nothing, really. It looked like he mishit it, and I don't know whether Joe mistimed it in terms of where it was going to bounce, or he didn't see it. Apparently he said there that it went over Josh's head and he hit it at the last minute and it's bounced and span away from him. So disappointing to go in at 1-0 down, because I felt the game plan was to try and nullify their strengths. I felt we did that, and the front two for us, I felt Michael and Charlie was causing them a few problems, and to go in at 0-0 would have been great. To go in at 1-0, obviously we've got to try and lift them at half time, but I thought the players were absolutely fantastic today. I thought they put a tremendous effort in, and if we do that for the rest of the season, then we'll have a good chance of staying up.
Possession wise, we were on the back foot most of the time, which is no great surprise, but Joe really only had a couple of really good saves to make. Apart from that, we did a pretty good job at shutting them out. The trouble is, once they got that goal, you can't really see us getting one back.
No, and that's the frustrating side of it. I mean, obviously we're working quite hard this week on trying to bring a couple of players in that hopefully might give us a bit more on the front foot, which is what we need. And I've said it all along, we can't go in there hoping to nick games 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, because it doesn't happen. Sometimes we might have to go and score 2 or 3 goals to try and win a game of football. And it's just a shame, really, because, as I say, we went down to 10 men in that last sort of 7 or 8 minutes, and the ball went across the face of the goal. If we'd have had a full squad, maybe we've had one more player running in there to slide it in. So it's frustrating, but they're a good side, as you said before. There's a reason why they're sort of 8 or 9 points clear at the top, and I think they see the game out in the last sort of 7 or 8 minutes. They just see the game out. They killed the game. I felt they get the referee in terms of some of the fouls that happened. They just sort of dragged the referee in. The referee's giving fouls, but I just didn't think we could get any momentum going in the second half like we did in the first half.
Funny enough, I thought they looked a bit edgy at the end, and talking to a couple of their photographers, they said the club itself feels a little bit edgy, but haven't wrapped up the championship yet.
Well, as I've said before, and for the experience I had last year, it's not an easy league. It's a tough league, and every game you go into, you have to earn the right to win that game. And obviously, them being top of the league, a big crowd, nice stadium, we're always going to come here and raise our game. So the important thing from our point of view is that we have to go and do that again at Bath on Saturday, and that's the players can't raise a game here and not do that again on Saturday, and that's the consistency that I'll be looking for over the next few weeks.
Bath are on a bit of a poor run at the moment. I'd imagine you'd probably go for a more attacking line-up. Yeah,
I think we've obviously got to take stock now. Al's got a bit of an injury, which looks like he probably won't make Saturday. Today looks like he's done a bit of a thigh muscle, but we need to take stock in terms of the set-up, in terms of how we're going to set up and the way we're going to go and play the game. But you're exactly dead right. I mean, we've tried to play we did play 2 up front today, but again, with their fullbacks pushing in, it was always going to be difficult for us to try and hold them going forward. But I felt the front two for us today, I said it earlier, Charlie and Michael work very, very well, but we've got to start getting some balls into wide areas. We've got to start getting crosses into the box, and we've got to start scoring goals, and the only way we're going to do that is playing more of a forward formation, as you said earlier.
Referee you mentioned was heavily involved, certainly in that second half. Do you feel that your team could have, worked them a little bit better, or just...
I think you're dead right. I think that comes from experience. I think that comes from having a discipline about us. I felt that the way they reacted to the first challenge from Albans, where they got around the referee, I just felt the referee could have really took hold of that. I think he lost it for 10 minutes, and I think we ended up with 5 or 6 bookings between the two teams. But again, you're dead right. If we've got a discipline there, we could have probably been a little bit better in the way that we went about it, and we've picked up 3 cheap bookings there within a sort of a 7 or 8 minute through people just losing their heads, and it's a shame, because you want them to be on the front foot. You want them to be not so much aggressive, but you want them to be working hard, and you just got to have that temperament when you can know when to go and attack teams and when to hold off teams. And I felt today 2 or 3 of them challenges, certainly Sam Corcoran's on their centre half was a silly challenge, and certainly Hugo's on Cook was a poor challenge because he didn't have to go and do it. I think the other one, Albans one, which is one of them, you go and compete for it, but all 3 of them really could have been stopped.
And the 5 at the back, is that horses for courses today, or...?
No, I think it was just something that I wanted to have a look at. I mean, we haven't had chance to work on anything. Well, Thursday night will be the first chance I'll have chance to work with whether it be a back four or a back three or a back five. Tonight I just felt with their strengths, because they virtually play four up front with Cook and Godden on either wing and Kedwell and McLean through the middle. I felt we needed to go and just try and nullify their strengths, and I felt by playing the three in midfield we could outmanoeuvre their two. And at times we had good possession, but it just took too long to get forward. We went side to side too many times. We've got to start looking to put balls in behind defenders, putting the balls up the side of defenders, because in Charlie McDonald, we've got a lad who won the league last year in the conference, and at the moment I think he scored one goal in his first game. We don't give him enough chances, and I know Charlie personally from the fact is that you give him half a chance, he'll stick it in the back of the net, but he's not getting any chances. And Michael Falasitas has come in for the last two games, and I felt done really, really well. He's led the line well, but again, there's no chances for him to go and stick the ball in the back of the net, and that has to come for me from wide areas. It has to come through the middle. It can't just come from set pieces and long throws, because that's not going to be the answer.
It's 2 games you've had now, Ian. Do you think you've learnt quite a bit about the players you've seen?
I certainly feel I've had a response in terms of commitment, but I still feel there's a long way to go in terms of where we're playing and some of the areas we're playing football in. We need to go and as you've said earlier, we need to go and play in the final third than what we've done. Difficult coming here tonight, because if you open yourself up against these, you could get beat 4 or 5. And the one thing we couldn't do tonight was come here and take a heavy beating, because I feel the confidence side of things we need to just keep pushing forward from Saturday. So if we'd have nicked the game today or got a 0-0, you'd have come off there and said that's a point gained. In the end we haven't, but we've got to start playing in the opponent's third, in the final third, and we've got to, as I said earlier, we've got to start putting crosses in the box. We've got to start building up and playing a bit further up the pitch rather than trying to defend and hit teams on the counter-attack, because at the moment we haven't got the pace or the power to hit teams on the counter-attack. As you've seen with teams like Leicester, with the way they go and hit teams on the counter-attack, we haven't got that pace, and it takes too long to go from the back to the front before we can get bodies forward.
You touched on discipline earlier. We've now got just under 70 bookings. The opposition against us is under 40. A couple of players on 8 bookings. You can't afford to lose them on the vital run-in.
Not at all, because it's just gets to that stage where 2 games and the squad is not the biggest at the moment. When we look at it, we've got Al could be out tonight. It could be out probably 2 or 3 weeks with what he's done, and Charlie McDonald just felt his hamstring tonight, so that would leave us sort of 15, 16, I think Jack Green's got a meniscus, it looks like, so that'll be maybe a small operation at some stage. So it is very, very much on the thin side of things. So, and as you say, discipline's massive. The one thing that you have to have is discipline in this league, because if you don't, then it just creeps up on you, and you start getting those 2 or 3 game bans at a certain stage when you need a full squad, and that's going to be massive as we go into the final sort of 7 or 8 weeks of the season.
I guess you'd like to get your first win under your belt pretty soon, and Saturday would be a good time to get it. It
would be nice, because, as you say, we're going into a spell where Bath, which will be a 6-pointer, and then Sutton and Whitehawk, which are not going to be any easy games, because of obviously they want to get in the playoffs. So it's a tough time at the moment. We've all got to, as I said, Saturday, we've got to just go and graft, work hard. We've got to try and get 2 or 3 players in for the weekend, which we're working on at the moment. Hopefully we'll get them secured over the next sort of day or 2, and then we can take stock of what we've got, what we haven't got. But certainly the one thing we need to do is we need to work as hard as we've worked tonight, but then we need to have that little bit of quality, and we need to go and score some goals.
A lot of the players on either side knew each other tonight, and of course the Ebbsfleet manager rather well.
Yeah, Darryl played for me twice at Borehamwood, obviously a few years ago before he went off to Eastleigh and signed for them, and then last year we brought him in after Ebbsfleet let him go, and he was a vital cog in our spell we had after Christmas period, and he played some important games for us, and then obviously Ebbsfleet knew what he would do. They're obviously going to bring him back here, and I think he left us 2 games before the end of the season, but he wasn't in my plans in terms of starting. He would have been off the bench for me, so in terms of starting in the final games, I felt he wouldn't have started. That's why we allowed him to come back here, and you've seen what job he's done. He's done a fantastic job. He's a good manager. He knows what his strengths and his weaknesses. He knows the players he wants and the personnel he's got, and I think they've been everybody's favourites, and I think they'll go on and win the league.
Lovely, thanks so much, Ian. Reminder then, Saints next in action on Saturday as the 20th of February away to Bath City. Kick-off at Twerton Park. National League South is at 3 p.m.